All right, just a sec. Connected there. I gotta see. Where's the, here to get the YouTube chat. I always forget how to do this. Chat. There we go. All right, I got chat up now. And we should be good to go. Okay. I think we're live. I think I'm good. We'll see if people start trickling in. Got no idea. Let me see here. I'm still a noob when it comes to streaming, man. Takes me forever to figure out how to do this stuff. Let me see here. Two watching. All right. All right, I think we're good. Okay, I think I'm live. If people are watching, hey, how's it going? I can hear you and see your screen. I think you're good. All right, sweet. We're good. Can you guys hear the music? Is the music at a good volume? Can you hear that? I stopped killing the roaches in my house to watch this. Never rent your place out to Asmongold. Indeed, indeed. I can turn the music up or down. I am live. We're getting back with some coding. And this time I got some music. A little bit of a neon white OST in the background. But let me know if you can hear that. If not, I could try to... There we go. I turned it up a little bit. Maybe you can hear it better now. All right. You don't hear the music. Hi, do you have any experience with internships? I'm on my first one, and I'm wondering if it's often you really don't do much. If it's often you really don't do much. No, okay, yeah. Okay, when I had my first internship, basically what they're doing... Hey, how's it going, Nobre? Basically what you're doing in an internship is you're just kind of like trying to learn things. Basically, is kind of from my experience. You're just trying to learn how the organization works and stuff like that. Get a little bit of experience. And so I had basically no idea what the hell I was doing for a really long time. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine from my experience. Just try to, try your best. Ask people for help, when they've got time, etc. But don't try to, don't be too worried about it. All right. I am a streamer, Andy. That is true. All right, here we go. Well, let's get started. Let's write some code. My YouTube Studio control is saying warning right now. The stream is something, but hey, whatever. Anyway, let's just start coding a bit. I'm going to try to remember what the hell was going on when I last stopped. And I'm just going to code for a bit. I got to do some chores and stuff tonight. Got to start helping out Gus. But I just opened this up and I'm looking at it again. So we have our game class here. Takes in, the random, the rules, and a list of players. And then it plays around. And what I want to do is, I think, start dividing up this bigger method into smaller chunks here. Yeah, it's live. Hey, thank you. All right, let's see here. So let me move chat over here just so I can see it in my peripheral here. But I don't want to get as distracted as I did last time. I want to try to get some actual work done. All right, here we go. All right, so player ID to bet. For each player, we get bet amounts. Profit minus equals bet amount. Right, okay, so I think what I want to do is make this into its own method to start off with, right? So get player initial bets. I just want to make it so that when I look at this play round method, it's not just this giant chunk of code. I want to be able to kind of read it a little bit better. Have you seen my messages on #rant? I have not. I don't really browse a lot of the other channels, to be honest. I kind of I check out generally, and the questions one, and then occasionally if somebody pings me in one of the other channels, then I'll do that. But I'm not usually checking it out too much. All right, here we go. So private iDictionary, it was of int to int, I think, right? So player ID to bet. Int to int, get player initial bets. right? And we're storing the players up here, so I don't need to pass that in here. So let's go ahead and do this. I think that we can just copy and paste this real quick. So let me go ahead and do that. And then return player ID to bet. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll just break that up real quick. This dot get player initial bets. There we go. I'm not a coding lad, so I will not have useful insight. No worries, no worries. We're just hanging out. You guys, I'm going to try to engage with chat occasionally, but I don't want this to be a just talking stream, so I'll try to balance getting things done and chatting with y'all, you know? We're just hanging out. All right, so we get the initial bets here. And then if this.shoe.num cards is less than or equal to cut card location, reshuffle the shoe. Yeah, so we play the round. We're persisting the shoe between rounds, and then we're creating the dealer hand. And then we draw 2 cards for the dealer, and then we set the dealer up card to the 0th index. There we go. Hey, got you live. Awesome. Yep. Functional versus OOP, which is better? I mean, basically, I don't think it really matters unless you're, in my opinion, what I would strongly advise you against is having wacky inheritance graphs, right? I'd say try to use inheritance, you know, sparingly, because that shit gets really, like, annoying to deal with after a while when you start to have a bunch of, like, you know, implementing certain, like, basically making this type of thing. Instead, I try to use, like, interfaces when I can, and sometimes abstract classes. But I think if you're just using object-oriented programming to store functionality and state next to each other, I don't think that that's a big deal. And it could just make sense. It's really just, like, what makes sense for what you're doing, is my opinion on it. All right, so we got our initial bets here. We got the cut card location. We deal out the dealer hand. We have the dealer up card here. And then we have player ID to hand state. And the hand state, I remember we did this because I believe you can have, like, multiple hands. So where's the hand state? Player hand state right here. Public hand, get hand is a bet amount. All right, let me go back to this. How did we deal with splits here? Or did we even get to that? Maybe I was going to go back and do splits later. Dealer hand, blah, blah, blah. Hand index. Player ID to hand state. And the hand state is a list of hand states. And the hand state, it keeps track of the hand versus the bet associated with the hand? Isn't that right? Yeah, it does. It's getting a little confusing here. Let's see here. So, how do I want to do this? Can I clean this up a bit now that I'm revisiting it? So, the dealer will always have one hand. Players will always have one or more hands. And so, what do I want to do here? For our player ID to hand state equals this dictionary, we deal them out these hands. We get if they want insurance bets, if the dealer up card is an ace. We store that into a separate dictionary here. And create decision info, dealer up card.rank, ID to hand. I'm trying to remember what this is. All right. Did you know that Ozzy Osbourne died today? Yeah, that was pretty sad to see. The hand state is what I call Michigan. There you go. And the decision info, I'm just trying to get reacquainted with this because I have not looked at this code in a while. Let me go ahead and see this. Or sorry, let's, not quick actions. You go to implementation here. Return new player decision information, dealer up card, player hand, this style rules. Okay, right. So this is just the struct, basically, that I made to pass in the dealer up card, the player hand, and the rules. And what we're doing is we're passing that in to the get insurance bet method that the player calls. There we go. So let's move this into its own dedicated method as well. Let's see. Let's move this down here. So get player initial bets, private. I think it was an I dictionary of int to int, right? Although we map from... So, okay, if you split... No. If you split, you still only get your one insurance bet. Yeah, so that's fine. So yeah, we can do an int to int. So I dictionary, int, get player insurance bets. There we go. Sing that on Twitter now. Blah, blah. Please add reels in the corner. Yeah, let's get some Subway Surfer down in the corner, please. I don't know who I'm asking. I'm the only one running this thing here. So, let's see here. We have player that... So let's move this over here. Let's move this down here. Boom. Okay. So dealer hand, dealer up card index, blah, blah, blah. So what I should do here is have this be... This is a card, right? Scorecard equals 11. Yep. Okay. So card, dealer, up card, right? And we should also do hand, player, hand. There we go. All right, so dealer, up card, like that. And then let's make this just the hand that we pass in. Player, hand. And then we're going to return the result. Return this. Okay. So there we go. So now what I could do is we get all the hands generated. Player state.new hands. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say var insurance bets equals this dot get player insurance bets. And what we want to do there is we do dealer up card here. And we do... oh, we have to do that for every player, though, right? So, actually what I should do is... For each player in this dot players... No, yeah, okay, no, wait. I can't pass in the hand here. I'm iterating through all the different players there. So what I need to do instead is pass in the... what was it? Create player decision info. This dot players. I need to pass in the dictionary of player ID to hand state. There we go. And then we'll pull out the hand from that. All right, there we go. Let's do I dictionary. Just use the interface there. And I'll say player ID to hand state. All right, and let's do player ID to hand state of player.id. There we go. But this is, of 0.hand. There we go. It's a list. It's the initial hand. We do that. All right. So, I mean, actually, technically, would you ever take insurance? Yeah, okay, I guess there could be a conceivable chance that you'd only want to take insurance based on your hand, right? I'm just trying to think. I mean, usually people are taking insurance. They're only going to be taking insurance if they're counting cards or they're stupid, right? What are they basing that decision off of? You know what I mean? Because it's just you're betting that the dealer is going to have a 10 under the ace. So do you even need to know about your hand to make that decision? Whatever, we'll pass it in. Who gives a fuck? I'll figure that out later. Maybe I'll create certified dumb guy as one of my AIs that only takes insurance if his hand looks bad or something. I don't know. But when you're counting cards, it's just high-low, right? Yeah, okay, whatever. We'll figure it out later. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Player ID to hand state. Like that. Okay. I think that all the monitor that I buy don't like me. I had mine for less than a year, and it's already fucked with lines. Okay. Let's see here. So insurance bets here. From what I remember, your hand scoring system only assumes you have less than or equal to 2 aces, by the way. No, I think the hand scoring is fine from what I remember. Let me just check though. You might be right. Let's make sure of that. Scoring utils. So this one actually, okay, so I think I know what you're talking about. So what it does is it says has ace equals false, right? Here's the thing. You can only ever have one soft ace in your hand. Why is that? If I have 2 aces, one of them is soft, one of them is hard. Because if they were both soft, that would be 22, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm saying has ace. It iterates through them. It sees if we have an ace, and we already have an ace, the next one has to be hard. So we add 1. Otherwise, we make it initially 11, and then we set has ace to be true. And then otherwise, we just add the score of the card. But then if score is greater than 21 and we have an ace, then we make that ace, the initial one that's soft, we make it hard. So that's what I'm doing right there. So that should work. And also, I can make this a little bit more efficient by moving the has ace into here, right? So there we go. So I think that works fine. And in fact, let's just test it out. Let's test it out and make sure. Let's go to main here. Let me just make sure that this compiles. It does compile. All right, so I'll do this. Let's do var card 1 equals new card, excuse me, rank dot ace suit dot spades, because we got to do the ace of spades, baby. And let's go ahead and add this to 2 and 3, right? And then let's do var hand equals new hand. And oh yeah, I made it so that you have to add them one at a time. So hand dot add, and I think this one, can we do multiple card adds to the hand here? I could maybe I'll add a constructor so that I don't have to fucking do this every time and shit. How's it going? Let's do new. I think I could just do this actually. Card 1, card 2, card 3. Does that work in this? I thought that I thought you could do that. Anyway, new list card. It'll tell me how to do it. Okay, that works. I think it could be simplified though. Let me see how it simplifies it again. Yeah, okay, so you could just use the square brackets if you want to do it like that. But then let's do this. So var score equals score utils scoring utils. There we go. Dot score hand console. I don't even need to store that, so let me just do this. Console dot write line scoring score hand. There we go. What is it? Oh, this. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and try that out. So it should be 11, 12, 13. If I did that right. 13. All right, so we're good. Cool, cool. Good stuff. All right, let's get back to this. So let me go back to the game. So we get our insurance bets here. Get our initial bets. We draw out the dealer hand. We deal out the player hands. I'll put this in some dedicated methods in a bit, I think. Player ID to natural BJ. New dictionary, int bool. For each player, hand index equals 0. So now this is where I think I want to break this up a little bit too. We're just doing some refactoring so it's a little bit more readable. Let me make a method to play a hand, right? So okay, let me revisit this. So basically we have a hand complete flag. We get the hand state that we're working with. Excuse me. For each player, we do this. We have a hand index. We got hand state. And we get the hand associated with that index. We create the decision info. We get the player action passing in the info. We switch on the action, take the appropriate thing. Also, I forgot. I remember now. I have to add this. Hand.state.bet amount plus equals hand state.bet amount. But then this should also reduce the player's bankroll. So player dot profit minus equals hand state dot bet amount. I'll probably put that into its own little method here. Split. We should also put that down. So let me make a method here to, how do I want to structure that exactly? So basically, increase bet. I'll make an increase bet method here that will take a player and then a bet amount, and it will add the bet amount to the hand state. So yeah, that's how I can refactor that a little bit. So let's go ahead and make a game utils file. Where is it? Game constant, player hand state scoring utils, game.cs. Let me do hand utils. Just trying to think, where do I want this to live, actually? Let me think. So we got a game here, we got game constant, we got game rules, we got player hand state, scoring utils. It's not really scoring utils here. We do bet utils. Let me do bet utils. All right. Bet utils, we'll put it right here for now. I can move it later if I need to. Change the namespace to the base namespace here. Public static class bet utils. Collection of helper methods or functions used for used with betting. All right, there we go. And I'm going to do public static it doesn't need to return anything, does it? No. Void make bet. And it's going to take a player. This player is a, or iPlayer, right? iPlayer. Player. And hand state, player hand state, right? Because it's always going to be associated with a hand state. Isn't that correct? Let me just see here. I guess technically if they're making insurance bets, we're handling that separately because the insurance bet is a side bet that isn't associated with the hand. Right? Yeah, but that's fine. We'll just use this one here. So, because what I want to do is I just want to deduct it from the player, add it to the hand bet amount, and then we should be good. All right. So, I'm going to say makes a bet associated with a given hand. All right. And then all it's going to do is it's going to say, so the player making the bet, and then the state of the hand associated with the bet. And it's going to be a simple method, but it'll just make it cleaner so I don't have to keep typing out. I won't forget to deduct the bet amount from the player. So I'm going to say that, oh, I need the bet amount as well. So, obviously, int bet amount. And so let me go ahead and add that in. So param bet amount, the amount to bet. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say player dot profit minus equals bet amount, because we deducted from the player. Hand state dot bet amount equals bet amount, or plus equals bet amount. There we go. Plus equals bet amount. And that's all we got to do. All right, so let me go back to the game and sub that in for everything, basically. So let me go down here. Get a bet amount, player ID to bet. So what do we do here? Let me see. So get initial bets. Player hand state. Player ID to bet. Okay, so what we're doing is I've actually divided out the bet, because, okay, I remember why I did this. I get the bets before the hands are dealt out. Yeah. So I get the hands before the cards are dealt out, which like doesn't necessarily need to be the case, but we'll just do it appropriately like the game is structured. And then I associate that bet amount later with the hand. So maybe instead of deducting that from the player here, let's just go ahead and get the bet amounts, right? And then later, when I associate it with the hand, I will call into the method and actually deduct that amount from the player later. So, new hand state, then there's the bet amount, like this. Let's go ahead and switch this out to being bet utils.makeBet for the player. With the hand state, and the bet amount will be player ID to bet of player.id. There we go. All right, so now we're kind of refactoring that. Later here, when we double down, now I could swap this out. We'll do bet utils.makeBet, and it's going to be player hand state. And then the bet amount is going to be hand state.bet amount. Yeah, because we're doubling it. We're doubling down. We're not doing partial double downs. We're just doing straight up double downs right there. All right. Now, what we do when we split is we make a new hand after we split by calling into hand.split. And what we do is we set the new hand state to the bet amount. So I'll swap this out, and I'll say bet utils.makeBet player hand state, or sorry, new hand state, and it has to be the same as the initial hand state's bet amount. There we go. All right. It's important to keep all this separate because certain rules let you double down on split hands as well. So I need to associate each individual hand with a certain bet amount later. All right. There we go. Okay, so we've kind of refactored that out a little bit. Initial bets. We actually don't even need to store this anymore after we do that, but it's fine. Insurance bets, natural blackjacks, hand index of 0. We go through all of the hands. We continue until all of our hands are complete, increasing the hand index along the way. So, I think what I want to do is move all of this into a separate function here, right? So let me just make sure what's going on here. So we have hand complete equals false. We do all this shit. Actually, hand complete equals false needs to be outside of this loop, right? Or no? No, it's in the loop, right? Yeah, okay. We set it in the loop. Hand complete if we surrender, and if we double down, and if we stand. Yeah, there we go. Or if we bust. If we bust, we set it to hand complete as well. So, yeah, I can do this. So let me move this into a separate method, and I'll say take player action. Yeah, so let's do that. Okay, so private bool take action, or I'm trying to think. Let's do take player action. There we go. Take player action. It needs to take in a player as a parameter, right? And a hand state. So player hand state, player hand state, and then I think we're good. So let me go ahead and copy and paste this into there to start off with. I'll talk about what the Boolean means in a bit. This I can just pass in later. So we got dealer up card dot rank. So I need to pass in the dealer up card as well. Player ID to hand state. Player.id. So I need to pass that in as well. All right, so I need to pass in the dealer up card dot rank. So card dealer up card, the player, and then we have to do the player ID to hand state so that when we split, we're adding that in there. All right, so makes sense. Actually, in that case, instead of passing in the hand state here, let me go ahead and pass in the player ID to hand state then, and move that back over. Yep, okay, there we go. So let's take the player, dealer up card, player. I'm going to make the first parameter dictionary of int to hand state, player ID to hand state. And, well, but then I need the index as well. Right? This is getting a little bit complicated. Is there a better way to do this? Let me go back up here and just see what's going on here. I want to see if I can do this in a way that's, like, less confusing. Because, you know, I left for a while and I'm coming back to this and it's going to be, like, difficult to keep track of the flow of everything. Because basically what needs to happen is you go through each player and they start off with their initial hand. Then they can get more hands after they split, which we add to their list of hands, and each hand has to be played out until it's complete. And so what we have to do is we have to iterate through every player, iterate through their actions taken on an individual hand until it's done. If that generated a new hand, then we need to go to the new hand, and then yeah, oh, wait. We need to deal out new cards here as well. Yeah, so it just split, but then I also need to deal new cards to the hands from the deck in the split as well. Yeah. Okay, so let me hold off on moving this into its own method because it's getting a lot more complex than it needs to. I'll come back to that. Let me first just correct this here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say new hand state dot hand dot add this dot shoe dot draw, and then we also need to do it for the old hand as well. So hand state dot hand dot add this dot shoe dot draw. There we go. All right, so we got two new hands now. We add new cards to those hands after we split. Now, here's another thing, though, that I'm just thinking about. No, that should be fine. All right, so I have to make exceptional handling based on the hand index, right? Because on the split hand, right, you can't, like, resplit aces, for example. And if you get aces, you can't do anything else. You just get one more card, I believe, right? So I need to add exceptional behavior based on the hand index later in this. But I'll get to that later. So this is getting a little bit complicated. But hey, that's blackjack for you. All right, so player ID to this. I'm just trying to think if there's a better way to do this. Hearing someone think out loud while coding sounds like the ramblings of a madman. It is very true. I kind of am a madman. I'm just thinking, especially when I'm coming back to this code after like 2 weeks. I'm just trying to remember everything that's going on. I'm trying to like think through all of the different scenarios that come up when you're playing blackjack, right? So we create those, we add the hand state to the list of hand states here. Later, what I'll have to do is I'll say, like based on the rules, sometimes you can double down after splitting, sometimes you can't. If you have aces, you can't hit, so I'll need to add checks here to see after a split if we have an ace, you know, if we can do shit. I'll get to that later. Let's just get the basic functionality out. I think this should work, right? For each of those, insurance bets, we get all that. We get all the actions. We continue through iterating. We complete all the hands. And then that should be everything completed pretty much. And then let's go ahead and pay out after all this. And then I just want to run through this and make sure it's working at a fundamental level. All right, so what we have to do is we have to go through each hand and evaluate how much we should pay out. So let's start with insurance, right? Because that one's a little bit easier. So for each var player in this dot players, what we need to do is we need to go through and pay out insurance bets if they exist, right? Each player in this dot players, we get insurance bets. Let me just see here. Or right here. Dictionary int, and then if scoring.utils. Yeah, okay. So if we don't have insurance bets, then that dictionary is actually going to be empty, which is fine. So let me just go ahead and do this. So if insurance bets.empty, is that the indicator that I want to use here? Or do I want to use a different indicator is what I'm wondering. Okay, actually, you know, on second thought, let's come back to insurance. Okay. All right, so for player, we go through each player, and then let's go through all of their hands. And we compare their hands to what the dealer... Oh, no, we have to play out the dealer hand as well. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. What we got to do is we got to do the dealer hand playing logic next. After we get all the player actions, we have to play the dealer hand out. So let me make that into its own separate method, because all it needs is the dealer hand passed in. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So, private void play dealer hand. Hand. All right, there we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to implement the player hand, or the dealer hand logic, which is pretty simple. It's just if it's less than 17... then we hit, and if it's 17 or higher, we stand. Although let me, well, we'll get to the soft hit, like dealer hits on a soft 17 rule later. We're getting the basic functionality up. Do you always use Visual Studio to code? When I'm writing C#, I do, yeah. So I usually am. All right, here we go. So let's do this. So var hand score equals scoring utils dot score hand, and then while hand score is less than 17, we just hit. We do hand dot add shoe this dot shoe dot draw. There we go. That's all we got to do for the basic dealer hand logic, I believe. Yep, that's all we got to do. So let's go ahead and put that up here. So this dot play dealer hand, and then we do dealer hand right there. Okay, now what I got to do is, so var dealer busts equals dealer, or I could return the score as well. Let me go ahead. Is this for a specific blackjack video game / set of rules, or more generic? I'm going to make it more generic. So I have this game rules object that I'm passing into the game. So far, it just has like the number of decks passed in. But later I'm going to add a bunch of different like conditional rules so that I can go back and change the logic up here based on those rules that are injected there. So actually I'm going to have this return the score here. Might as well. Let's go ahead and do that. Play dealer hand, and then we're going to return hand score, right? Okay, well now, there's the other thing, though, too, is that we need to check if there's a natural blackjack. But no, I can do that anyway. It's fine. I'll just check if the score is 21 and the hand size is 2, we know it was a natural blackjack, so I don't really need to return that here. So we play that out, and let's go ahead and say var dealer score equals this dot dealer dot play hand, or this dot play dealer hand. There we go. Now what I got to do is go through all of the player bets, compare them to the result that we get from the dealer's score. Let me just go ahead and compute this right now. So var dealer busts equals dealer score is greater than 21. And then let's do var dealer natural BJ, baby, which is going to be dealer score equals 21 and dealer hand dot well, no, that's a private method. Dealer hand dot, what do I got in dealer hand? Let me see. Hand is an enumerable of card, so yeah, it should just be count. All right, I should be good. Dealer hand dot count equals 2. There we go. So dealer natural blackjack equals that the score is 21 and the dealer hand dot count is 2. There we go. All right. So, hey, what's up, Jacob? How you doing? How you doing? I'm coding right now like a madman, trying to remember everything that was going on when I last left off, which was like a week ago or something. Hey, the song said you were dealt a bad hand. There we go. All right, here we go. For each var, god damn it, I can't type. The dealer is a natural at giving BJs, absolutely. For each var player in this dot players, and then we want to go for each hand, right? Let me just think of how I want to optimize this, because if so we've already taken all of the money from the players for each bet that they've made, so we only need to check if we need to pay out. So if we, if the dealer has a natural blackjack and the player has a natural blackjack, then we need to give them back their money. Right? Yeah, we do. Okay. So let me go ahead and do that then. So the natural blackjack, you wouldn't have done anything else. So let's go ahead and compare that. Okay, so if dealer natural blowjob, then we need to compare to see if the player had a natural blackjack, in which case we need to give them their money back. So let's go ahead and do that. Because on splits, 21s don't count as natural blackjack, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, we're good, we're good. All right, so player ID to natural BJ equals new dictionary. We're setting, where are we setting that info, by the way? Ooh, wait. This has to be up. No, never mind. It does not have to be updated. We're good. Continue. Yep. Okay. So if dealer natural blackjack and actually let's do it like this. Let's start with the player blackjack. So if player ID to natural BJ of player.id, then what I want to do is check if the dealer has a natural blackjack. So if dealer natural BJ, then what I got to do is I got to just give them their money back. So player dot profit plus equals let me see here, the hand of 0, right? Play dealer hand is going to infinitely draw cards. All right, I forgot to update the hand score. You are correct. That is correct. Add the card and then recompute the hand score. Thank you. plus equals their initial bet, which we actually are already storing up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So player ID to bet, ID to bet of player.id. All right, there we go. So they're going to get their money back. Otherwise, let's go ahead and just implement this right here. So public bool natural BJ pays 3, 2, 2 equals, I'm going to say get. Okay, there we go. I'm going to say, we'll handle assigning this shit later. It should be fun. All right, so if this dot rules dot natural BJ pays 3 to 2, which is the way that God intended, then what we do is we pay them out 3 to 2 based on their initial bet. So player dot profit plus equals player ID to bet of player dot ID, and that is going to be, they're getting their initial bet back plus 3 over 2. So it should just be 5 over 2 times that. Let's do that. So 5 over 2 times that, because they're getting their initial money back and then they're getting paid out 3 to 2 based on whatever their bet was. Otherwise, it's... actually, let me just do this. So var pay factor. Yeah, let's do that. So var pay factor pay ratio equals this dot rules dot natural BJ plays 3 to 2. And it's going to be a double. So let me go ahead and if it pays 3 to 2, then we want to do 3.0 over 2, or we want to do 6.0 over 5. Let's go ahead and do that. Player dot profit. Hey, how's it going? Let's see here. Glad to see you too, Christian. Player dot profit plus equals pay ratio plus 1 times the player ID to bet of player.id. There we go. Okay. And that's going to complain because it's a double, right? Yep. So let me go ahead and cast this int times all that shit. There we go. Cool. All right. So now we got the natural blackjacks paid out. And we can break after that, actually. We don't need to check anything else for that player if they got the natural blackjack. Let's go ahead and break. Or not break, continue. Continue to the next player. But if they don't have the natural blackjack, then we go into the normal scoring, right? So we have to go through each of their hands and then check them versus the dealer score, right? All right, here we go. So for each var hand in player ID to hand state of player.id. So go through all of their hands. And we need to check if we need to pay them based on the score of the hand. Yes, we do. Okay, so let's go ahead and score the hand then. So var player hand score equals scoring utils dot score hand of hand, or sorry, I want to do hand state. So let's go and do the hand state dot hand. So we go ahead and check the score. Then if the score is less than 21, less than or equal to 21. Well, if it's less than, okay, wait. Let me think here. So, if it equals what the dealer has. Now we need to, okay, first of all, we need to check for natural blackjack. So if dealer natural blackjack, then we lose automatically. Because we didn't have a natural blackjack. So, if dealer natural blackjack, we just continue. Let me just go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we go into the normal comparison logic, right? So, what I need to do is I need to compare the score to whatever the dealer has. We know after this point that the dealer has a, does not have a natural blackjack. If our score is greater than 21, we always continue anyway. So there we go. Okay, so sorry, player hand score is greater than 21. We continue. There we go. And we don't get paid back. If our score equals the dealer's score, then we get paid back our money. So if player hand score equals dealer's score. Let me go ahead and change the name of that just so it's a little more clear. Dealer hand score. There we go. If it equals the dealer hand score, then we get our money back. So we do player dot profit plus equals hand state dot bet amount. We get it back. Else if the dealer busts. So okay, so if we bust, we automatically lose. If the dealer busted, then we lose, then we win. So if dealer score, hand score is greater than 21, or our score is greater than dealer hand score. Dealer hand score, player hand score, let's do it greater than. So player hand score is greater than dealer hand score. Player dot profit plus equals hand state dot let me think here. Bet amount times 2, right? Yeah, because we have to get our initial bet amount back, plus we get paid out, 1 to 1. There we go. All right. I'm wondering if I should implement the bet like this. Maybe I should just get the bets and then later deduct them from the player so that I don't have to do all this weird, adding 1 here. And that might just be more clear, actually. Yeah, you know what? I made this whole, bet util function, but it would just be easier if I just keep track of the bets and then later deduct them from the players if we lose, right? I think that would make more sense. So I'd have to go back and rewrite that. I think it's going to make more sense to do it that way, because that's how it functionally works at the table anyway, right? You haven't technically lost the money yet. You're just putting the money up there. Yeah, that makes more sense. Let me go ahead and do that then. Okay, I'm going to rewrite that then. So let's go back up here. So we get the initial bets. We associate that with this shoe. In this case, I don't even need the make bet function, I don't think. I don't think that's really doing anything. So let me go ahead and delete this for now. I might recreate it later, but I don't think we need it. So let's go ahead and do this. So hand state dot bet amount equals player ID to bet of player.id. There we go. Okay. Let's just go ahead and fix that now. Let's move over here. I'm just going to do hand state dot bet amount plus equals hand state dot bet amount. And then this one will be hand state dot, or sorry, new hand state dot bet amount equals hand state dot bet amount. There we go. I thought there was one more place that we did it here. Equals get bet amount. No, we're good. We're good. And then the insurance bet. We're already not... Okay, we already weren't deducting here. So, hey. Okay, this makes it a little bit easier. What's the shoe? Is that the deck? Yeah, so a shoe is basically just a collection of decks. Like if you go to a casino, they'll have like a sleeve of a bunch of cards, and then that's what the shoe is. So a lot of times they're going to play with like 6 to 8 decks, for example. And then those will all be in the shoe. So, okay, so now we're not deducting. So now the payouts should be... We need to change around this logic now. We have to like deduct from their profit if they lose, and we have to add to their profit if they win. So, if player ID to natural blackjack, actually if dealer natural BJ, we actually, we want to continue regardless because we don't need to like go through their hand normally, right? So we'll keep this the same. But this one should be if not dealer natural blackjack. So now we don't have to pay out. We don't have to do anything on ties now because we haven't taken the money yet, right? And I don't have to have this +1 anymore. It's just going to be the pay ratio, which I don't need to parentheses around anymore, times the player ID to bet. Yeah, there we go. Now, though, we have to deduct on a loss. So this one, yeah, we're all good. For each hand state in the hand, var player hand score equals scoring utils, that's score hand. Have you played any Zectronic games like Shenzhen IO, Exa, Punks, TIS 100? I've heard of Zectronics, but I haven't actually played any of those games. But I heard they're good, so I'm going to have to check them out at some point. I heard there was like a solitaire collection or some shit like that. That sounded kind of interesting. All right, there we go. So for each var hand state in this, then what we want to do is we want to score that hand. And then if the dealer has a natural blackjack, or the player hand score is greater than 21, now what we need to do is we need to deduct the amount. So we're going to go with player.profit minus equals hand state dot bet amount because we lost. Then if we've made it past this point, oh, we want to continue as well here, yeah. Continue because we've already lost it. All right. If the player hand score equals the dealer hand score, we don't actually need to do this anymore, so we just remove this case because ties are handled implicitly now. Dealer hand score is greater than 21, or the player hand score is greater than the dealer hand score. We just add the bet amount to our profit here. And then, let me see here. So, else if player hand score is less than dealer hand score, then player dot profit minus equals hand state dot bet amount. There we go. Yeah, the Solitaire collection on Steam. The other games are puzzle/programming games. Cool, I'll have to check it out. Sounds cool. Nostalgic, bro. Holy hell, I actually caught an amicable smooch at stream live. You're in luck. At some point, I want to move the coding live streams over to the main channel. I'm just doing this to get a little more confidence in my streaming ability before I take it to the main channel. I want to have like a more contained, small audience for now, so it's a little more chill for me, etc. Really enjoying your Blueprints playthrough. Thank you. Yeah, I'm having fun with it. I just haven't, you know, a bit of a eventful week is what I'll say, and so I haven't had a chance to like go back and play it. But I want to continue that playthrough and definitely beat the game. All right, so we've handled the natural blackjack case. We've gone through every hand. We check if we have a natural, or the dealer has a natural blackjack, or we've busted. We lose automatically. You You should play The Farmer Was Replaced if you ever do a coding game on Steam. I haven't heard of that. I'll have to check it out. The name of the game is interesting to me. All right. Dealer hand score is greater than 21, blah, blah, blah. All right. I think this is good for now. I'm just trying to think. Oh, wait. We need to handle the side bets. Oh, wait. This is made a little bit interesting by the fact that the surrender action is taken. So instead of... Oh, wait. How do we handle surrender now? We complete the hand. So now that I'm not deducting the... what do I do here for surrender? Because I'm not taking the bet away. When you would surrender in the game, that's the point where the casino grabs your money and pulls it in. So what I can do, I need to have a way of marking, though, that the hand is bad. So maybe what I'll do, instead of checking for a bust down here like this, I'll store if the hand is a losing hand in remove all cards in current hand. I could do that. I'm just trying to think, though, if there's a more elegant way of doing this, because I could store a flag that... Man, now I'm wondering if I want to go back and do it the other way where I was deducting, because that worked out pretty cleanly with the surrender rule. Although, no, that would still have the same issue, because with surrender, we would need to... we would still need to mark it, because we'd have to say that... So, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the hand state, and I'm going to store a flag that says whether or not the hand is a losing hand. There we go. You'd only lose half your bet, right? Hey, Mindy, how's it going? Yeah, that's true. But I need to only lose half my bet, and I need to know not to play that hand out, right? Because there would still be a chance that even if you surrender, that you would still beat the dealer if the dealer busts, right? In your blueprints prints, I was like, why are you taking notes of every painting? And imagine my surprise when they are actually part of something. Yeah, there's some kind of puzzle there. To be fair, I got a spoiler, kind of, that in the comments section on some other random video that told me that there's like a mapping paintings to letters puzzle. So I kind of knew that I needed to take notes on the paintings, but hey, whatever. What can you do? If you get something spoiled to you in a puzzle game, tough shit. You know what I mean? All right, okay. So this isn't fucked then. What I need to do is I need to mark if a hand is a losing hand, because that'll be for both the bust case and the surrender case. Because the surrender case, we're not busted, but our hand is surrendered already. So I need to go to the player hand state here, and then let's go ahead and set that. So public bool, lost, or losing hand. And we'll say get, set, and we'll start it off as false every time. We'll set it later. Alright, so let's go back to the game here. Add that, hand complete, and then I'll do if hand complete, then we do hand, or we don't need to do that actually. We'll do hand complete. Can I don't know if you could do, well, let's just try this out. All right, so fucking hand dot, or where is it? Hand state dot losing hand equals hand complete. There we go. All right. And then what I'll do here is we'll remove this. No, okay, we'll do I mean, the way I could do it right here is I could just give the player half of their bet amount and profit here, and then down here deduct their full bet amount. But that's kind of janky, is the thing. I mean, that's not how it works in the casino, right? They're only going to take half of your bet. But I mean, it's the same thing, so fuck it. All right, we'll add the profit, and then later we'll deduct it out. So what I'll do here is I'm going to say, it's going to be hand state dot losing hand. Then we subtract that out, and then at this point, yeah, okay, there we go. That'll be the same thing. It's a little janky, but whatever. Who gives a fuck? All right, so we've got the natural blackjack case. We've got the normal case. We check if we've automatically lost already, and then if we haven't, we go on to the next logic where we check if our score is, if the dealer is busted or our score is greater than the dealer's hand. And then we add the bet amount, etc. Yeah, there we go. The next thing I want to do is I also want to add in the check up here for insurance. So I'm going to say if insurance bets that empty, or sorry, count is greater than 0, and yeah, if it's greater than 0, then let's do this. So basically, if we've placed insurance bets, go through the insurance bets. So if it's greater than 0 and insurance bets of, actually no, I don't even need to have that check. If it's greater than 0, here we go. Hey all, hope everyone's doing well. I am doing well. I'm just coding a little bit before I do some chores later in the day. So let's go like this. What I'm going to do is if dealer natural BJ and insurance bets, or no, I don't even need to do that. If dealer natural blackjack, we'll do this. We'll do player dot profit plus equals insurance bets of player dot ID times 2, because it pays out 2 to 1, I believe. But you can only make up to half of that bet. All right, so if dealer natural blackjack, then we do that. Else, player dot profit minus equals insurance bets of player dot ID. All right, there we go. Okay. Okay, I think we've got this all handled here for the basic rules. I'm going to go to debug mode and make sure that this is working properly. So let's go ahead and write this out, because I'm not writing unit tests for this. I may go back and write unit tests later, but I'm just going to test this out manually. All right, so what do we need to do? So var game equals new game, and we need to pass in a random object. So let's go ahead and generate that. Random r equals new random. And then we also need to pass in game rules. All right, so var rules equals new game rules. And then I'm going to say rules dot numdex is going to be 8. Or sorry, not like that. Equals 8. There's a setter, right? Let me see. Game rules, public int, numdex. Oh, I made them only gettable. Let's just, for now, I'm going to add setters. Later, I may add a factory method to generate this, so it's fine, though. All right, so rules that natural BJ plays 3 to 2 equals true. Let's pass the rules in. All right, rules here. And then we need players. Okay, so, oh, wait. We haven't implemented any player AIs yet. So let me go ahead and make a very basic player AI just to make sure that the rules of the game are all good. Let me go ahead and comment this out just so it's not complaining. It doesn't bug me. All right, so we got the interface here. And let's go ahead and make a player that just does random shit. Okay. Random Randy. All right. It's going to be Random Randy. And he's just going to do random bullshit. So let's do that. Public class, and it's going to be an I player. All right. Let's go ahead and implement the interface here. And let's go ahead, make it player AI always hit. The thing is, I want it to do random shit so that we see a variety of cases and stuff like that. But here we go. So I'm going to do public player, or sorry, random Randy. It's going to take a random R, all right? And it's going to keep a private property, private random R. Actually, yeah, I could just have this as the default constructor up here. All right, so random R and equals R. Not like that. All right, there we go. So we got our constructor here. Let's just set this as a get set. Oh wait, no, this needs to take in an ID as well. So public int ID get, no setter, but we'll take in int ID. Actually, let's put that afterwards. Let's do it like this. Int ID. Okay. Equals ID. Profit is going to be 0. So get and set. We don't need it to be not implemented. Equals 0. All right. Get action, get bet amount, get insurance bet. So here we go. Here we go. You know, there's one interesting thing, though, here. Now that I'm thinking about it with Random Randy, is we have this double down action, right? Which you can technically take whenever, based on the game rules here. So the player itself would need to know that it can't double down unless its card amount. The hand size is 2. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just trying to think, because, I mean, otherwise, the other way that we could handle that is that we could pass to the player a list of valid actions from the game, and then the player iterates through them and returns one. But the thing is, though, that contract doesn't even guarantee, though, that it's going to act properly. Is the only thing. So I think I will have the player determine if they can double down or not. So let's go ahead and do this. So let me go back to random Randy here. It's fine. I just want to test this out to make sure it's working at all to start off with. So I'm going to do return this dot r dot. Actually, you know, I'm just going to say $50. Who gives a fuck? Random Randy's actions are going to be random. His bet amounts are going to be, you know, this shit. I'm going to say 25 here. Okay. And then get action. This is where we go through this. So var valid actions equals new player action. We're going to do new list, or sorry, list of player actions. And it's going to start off with player action dot stand, because you can always do that. Player action dot hit, and you can actually technically always surrender, depending on the rules. We're going to say for now that we can do that. So player action dot surrender. Okay. So those ones are always valid. And then if hand or player decision info dot hand dot is can split. There we go. Valid actions dot add action player action dot split. Are you going to Vegas after the video is ready? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, here we go. And then if player decision info dot hand dot count equals 2, then valid actions dot add player action dot double down. All right, and then return valid actions of this dot r dot next. of valid actions.count. All right, so choose a random action. All right, there we go. So we got a random Randy. Let's go ahead and go back to our, where is it? Blackjack analysis main here. All right, so we got our game, our rules. All right, so now var player, so P1 equals new random Randy, which is going to take in the R, and it's going to be ID 0. Var P2 equals new random Randy, R 1, and then let's do var P3 equals, you know, let me just copy and paste this. We'll do 2 there. All right, so we'll have 3 players for now. And a new list player, iPlayer. And it's going to be... Actually, I don't even need to do that. I can just do this. I forgot. I learned this earlier. P1, P2, P3. And then I'm going to do game.playRound. All right, let's go ahead and debug this, and we'll step through. All right, so toggle breakpoint, starter up. There we go. Drill into that. So let's get the player bets. Let's see. It should be 50 for everybody. We do have 50 for everybody. The shoe is all good because it's a new shoe. And it should be shuffled. Yeah, okay. Var dealer hand equals new hand. And let's go ahead and go through this. All right, so dealer up card is the 10 of spades. The dealer hand is 10 of spades, queen of diamonds. Everybody is fucked, buddy. All right, here we go. F10, we go through each player, all of our random Randys, and they're all going to get dealt new hands. Let me just go through this. I'm pretty sure that this code is all good, so let's continue to that. All right, let's see what our random Randys are working with here, okay? So player ID to hand state for Randy 0 is ace of diamonds, 6 of hearts. Not bad. Okay. Value, we got 9 of clubs, king of spades. Also not terrible, I don't think, but not going to win there. And then we got 9 of diamonds, ace of clubs. These are all like pretty good hands throughout this. All right, let's get the insurance bets here. So insurance bets should not be populated at all because the dealer did not have a face-up ace. So let me just make sure that that is correct. Insurance bets count equals 0. Otherwise, all of the Randys would have made $25 insurance bets. We go through, we check out if anybody has natural blackjacks here. Well, we create that dictionary, I guess. Now for each player, we have hand index 0, we have hand states. We're starting with Randy number 0. So he should not have a natural blackjack because his cards are ace of diamonds, 6 of hearts. All right, so we continue on. The hand index is less than the count. So we check if... Wait. Hand index, player.id. Okay, no, we're good. Okay. So hand complete equals false. And we get the hand index here, and then we create the player decision info. And we get the action. All right, so what is the action that Randy wants to take? He wants to surrender. Wise decision, actually. All right, so let's go to the surrender case. So the hand complete equals true. Oh, wait, I forgot to add in one line here. Okay. I forgot to add in the losing hand flag here, right? So I do hand state.losing hand equals true. Equals true. Can you just set both of these in the same line? I forgot. All right, no, I don't think you can. Actually, can you just do this in C#? I'm not sure. Can I just do this? Nope, doesn't work. Okay. All good. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it back again. Maybe the Randys will have a little bit more luck this time with their how this works out. All right, F11. Let's go in here. So dealer hand, new hand. What does the dealer have this time? Dealer hand has 10 of hearts, 5 of hearts. All right, that's more manageable for the Randys. All right, let's go ahead and give the Randys their hands. So we got Randy 0. You know, I'll reveal them one at a time. We'll play them out one at a time and figure this shit out later. 4 of diamonds, ace of spades. The ace of spades. All right, so no insurance bets. Yep, still have no insurance bets here. Let's go through here. We got Randy 0. He does not have a natural blackjack. And he's going to go through. Let's get his action. All right, his action is double down. This Randy wants to double down on a 15. Soft 15. All right, here we go. So let's go to double down now. So handstate.hand.add this.shoe.draw. So we draw 1 extra card, which we got the 4 of diamonds. Or sorry, the 5 of diamonds or whatever. Yeah. I thought he had the... no, yeah, okay, yeah. 5 of diamonds there. And so then he adds his initial bet amount. So let me see here. Bet amount is 50. We double down, so then the amount goes up to 100. So that looks like it's working. And then the hand complete should be true. Ooh, that's another bug, though, actually. If we bust here, we need to flag this as a losing hand. All right. I'm learning something every time I'm running through this without actually even running into the bug. So, actually, let me go ahead and make that into its own method, though. Basically, dealing the card and then marking the hand state as being a losing hand if we bust. We can refactor that into its own method here, right? Okay, I'm probably going to move this out to a utility at some point, but let me just put it in here for now because I'm lazy. And we'll move it later, and I just want to make sure this is working. So private, void, deal. Actually, yeah, I'll just do this. So deal card, and we will deal a card to a hand state. All right, so hand state, player hand state, and that's the whole thing. That's all we need, right? So we just add the card, and then we mark it losing hand if it's greater than 21. All right, there we go. All right, so this.shoe.draw. Yep. And then now we check the score. So, yeah, okay, there we go. Now we can reverse that. So I'm going to do this, which I'm going to say... hand state dot losing hand equals that. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back up to hit, and I'm going to say, let's do it like this. So this dot deal card to hand state, we're good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do hand complete equals hand state dot losing hand. So now that checks implicitly if we've busted. We've gone and busted, my good man. All right, so here we go. Now I'm going to do this that deal card hand state, and once again we'll do hand complete equals hand state dot losing hand. All right, there we go. All right, so that should be good. We've got all that shit done. Let's try this again. Running it back, baby. All right. Drilling in. All right, here we go. What do we got? Let's get our new dealer hand. Dealer this time has Jack of clubs, Jack of hearts. Man, dealer's getting lucky. All right. That's great. You have mathematical skills, so that should help you. Have you seen Blackjack Apprenticeship YouTube channel, by the way? They make card counting videos. I have seen some videos recommended by that channel. I have not watched them yet. So I'm still kind of in the process of learning about card counting, but I know enough about it to, you know, get started writing this code and stuff. And so basically what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to just try to, like, find a bunch of different card counting strategies and then compare them together, you know, and see which ones perform the best and that sort of thing, and under which conditions and how often you have a positive expected value, that sort of thing. Should be a fun video, but it's going to be a lot of work, so hence why I'm coding right now. All right, so We start with our random... Okay, actually, let's just deal all the hands out. We don't get insurance bets. And then we're starting with Randy 0. All right, so Randy 0. Where is it? Player ID to hand state. There we go. All right, so Randy 0's got... What do you got in your hand, buddy? 9 of diamonds, 6 of diamonds. All right. We don't have a natural blackjack. Let's get the action of Random Randy number 1. He's going to surrender. He knows when he's been beat. Okay, so hand complete equals true. Losing hand should equal true. And then he gets back half of what he's betting. And then he's breaking. So later he's going to lose the money. So then hand complete, so hand index plus plus. We go up, so that should no longer be true. So we break out of that loop, and then we go to the next player. All right, so first Randy surrenders. Working well. All right, so now second Randy. Randy 1. What is Randy 1 working with here? Okay. He's got a 5 of clubs, ace of diamonds. F10. We score the hand. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's see what this Randy's actions are. He is going to surrender as well. All right, well, that's... Maybe I should remove that. Okay, he's giving up as well. All of the Randys are giving up. I mean, there's like a 1 out of 5 chance that they're going to do that, so whatever. All right, what is our third Randy working with here? Okay. Third Randy is... what is he going to do? Ace of diamonds, 9 of clubs. All right, so let's see what his action is. If he's surrendering again, we're going to make him do something else. A lot of people don't like Blackjack Apprenticeship, including me, because they charge like $5,000 to teach you card counting. What the fuck, dude? That is wild. All right, well, I did not know that about them. I thought they just made YouTube videos about card counting. That's also what I'm hoping to do with this, is I want to put all of my shit out there for free, and all my code out there for free, so that everybody can see it, any tools that I make along the way, so you can look at it, and you can get all the info, and you don't need to pay anybody for it. That's my goal with these videos. So we can take away their business, because we love destroying gambling-based businesses, you know? It's fun. All right, do we want him to do something a little more interesting than standing? I think so. Let's make him hit. I just want to see if it works. All right, he's going to hit. There we go. All right, so let's make him hit. And look at that. All right, so he's going to hit. And what does he get now? He's got ace of diamonds, 9 of clubs, 2 of diamonds. Why did you hit, Randy? You were sitting so nice on a 20. What the hell's wrong with you? Who would have done this? All right, so now he's wrapped around and he's got 12 now. All right, so you should not have a losing hand, though, right? Let me see here. Hand state is losing hand. Yeah, false. All right, so he's going to get another action now. So hand is not complete, so he loops back around. And let's see what his action is now. He wants to stand now. Randy, you are not a coward. You are going to hit again. I mean, this time you should actually hit now. You've already gotten yourself into the deep end here. All right, deal the card here. Okay. Let's see here. So what did we get dealt? We got dealt an 8 of diamonds. So that is 10, 12, 20. All right, look at that. All right, boom. Okay, so if hand complete, and now, what are you going to do now, Randy? What do you want to do? You want to hit? No, I'm going to have to cut you off, bud. I'm going to have to cut you off. Actually, yeah, no. We'll have you stand. You're cut off from your hitting privileges here. Okay. Continuing along. He stands, and then the hand is complete. So it goes to the next index, and then boom. All right. So we go here. The dealer hand score is this .dealer play hand. I should have drilled into the play hand, but I think it's fine. It's pretty simple. Dealer hand score is now 20, but he was already over 17, so he wouldn't have hit anyway. He does not have a natural blackjack. His count, yeah, blah, blah, blah. He did not bust, so now we go through each player. And none of them have natural blackjacks. None of them made insurance bets. And here we go. So, first player is going to be Randy 1, who has a hand score, or Randy 0, I should say, who has a hand score of 15. Okay? So he will not win. He's got a losing hand. Oh, because he's surrendered. That's right. All right, so he's surrendered. Now he gets that deducted. Let me just check his profit here. So his profit should be half of what he bet. So he should have $25 loss. Yeah, so let me go to, what is it? Player ID to bet. It should just be players. There we go, sorry. This stop players of Randy 0, profit negative 25. Yeah, so he only lost 25 bucks because he surrendered. Randy 1 should also have the same thing because it marks him as a losing hand. Same deal. And now we'll go to the final Randy, who should tie with the dealer here because he's up to 20 as well. So if dealer hand score is greater than 21 or player hand score is greater than dealer hand score, else if the player hand score is less than dealer hand score, which is not, and so nothing happens, and looks like we're all good. All right, so we played around. All right, cool. I want to see how splitting works. So let's go ahead and stack the deck a little bit, okay? If we can. All right, let's go into this. Let's go ahead and deal the player hands out. Let's go and get all of our Randy's hands here. Okay, so player ID to bet. Where is it? So we got all our hands. Let's go to player ID to hand state. We'll have, let's just check if any of them got a natural splittable hand here, actually. Ace, nope. That one's not one. Value. 8 of diamond, 9, nope. And value 4 of diamonds, 2 of spades. Okay, so let's go ahead and make Randy 0 have a splittable hand. So let's just go ahead and make this the... Can I edit that? Why can't I edit that? Why is that not letting me edit that? Edit value. Why can't I do that? Raw view. Count. Why can't I edit the hand? All right, whatever. It's fine. I'm just gonna force it to do a split, which should be fine. It'll work the same way anyway. All right. So I just want to make sure that logic is working properly. I'll have to look into why I couldn't update that later. But here we go. Here we go. Hand index is less than that, so let's go ahead and get the action. I'm going to force this to be a split here. And even though you normally wouldn't be able to split this hand, but let's just see if the split works. All right, so go to split. We're going to create a new hand. And now at this stage, before we've drawn our cards, we should have 2 hands that each have 1 card. So let me just make sure that that's proper. So hand state... right here, should have a hand that only has the first card, which is the ace of spades. That's correct. New hand state, cards here, 9 of clubs. So it did the proper split. We're going to add 1 card to the new... it's impossible to auto bust on the split. I mean, I could make it so that that's the deal card function, but it's impossible to bust immediately. Yeah, so whatever, we'll keep it the same. All right, so F10, so we add 1 to the new hand. It's got a 5 of spades now, and then the old hand should also get a new one. So it's got a 5 of clubs. Excuse me. Drinking some kombucha, making a little burpee. All right, here we go. So now the bet amount on the new hand should be that. Yep, we're good. All right, so new hand state has a $50 bet. And then player ID to hand state, we add the new hand state. So we've added that. So we're going to break now. So we've split this. The hands are not complete. We're still on our first hand here. And then let's get the action. He's going to double down, which you can only do sometimes after a split, but we're allowing it for now. And he's going to get a new card here. Dealt to him, which should be hand. So we got dealt a, so it's ace, 5, 8. So that would be 13 plus 1 would be 14 right there. Okay. Boom. And then that hand should be complete, though, after the double down, right? Oh, wait. Yeah. Wait. This should be true regardless. All right. I messed that up. We'll keep rolling through. Okay, we found a bug there. He should not be able to take another action after this, but he's surrendering anyway. Which you normally... Wait, can you only surrender on... Yeah, you can only surrender initially. Never mind. So, I shouldn't have allowed that either. Okay, there's two things. I need to update Randy's logic to only be able to surrender on the initial hand, right? So, let me go ahead and change a couple things here. So, there's the double down. This one is always going to be true. And then surrender should only be allowable on... Is it initial hand or... Are you allowed to split hands and then surrender after splitting? Let me just check. I'm going to check that shit. Okay, so... Blackjack, can you surrender after split? It's not allowed after splitting. Okay. So, there we go. You cannot... So you can only surrender if it's your first hand, so I will need to... See, this is what I'm saying, though, is that certain actions are only available based on the state of the game. So stand and hit are always available. Double down is sometimes allowed after splitting, but not all the time. Split, you can re-split, but so I think what I need to do is I don't want the players to... I don't want the players to have to each time individually recompute if they can double down, split, or surrender, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the players a list of valid actions, and the contract is going to be that they have to return one of those actions. So the way that I could make it so that the contract is enforceable would be that they would return an index to the action that they want to take, so they can't take any action that's not in that list. That would be like the most concrete way of doing it. So I might do that. Normally you can surrender after split, but that depends on the casino or the rules. All right. So yeah. So what I want I want the game to pass the player all of the actions that they can take. All right. So let's go ahead and get that implemented, actually. So let's go back to the player contract here. This is going to have the decision info, and then there's going to be a list of actions that they can take. Now the question is, I can either have them return the player action they want to take, or they can return the index of the player action from the set of available actions passed to them, and then that guarantees that if they return an index in the range of the thing that's past the player, that we're good. All right, so I'm just going to make it like that. Let's go ahead and do that. So let's do list player action valid actions. Okay, let me go ahead and put this on a new line. Let's go ahead and document this new parameter. The actions that the player can take at this point in the game. And, oops, shit. I don't want to copy that. Now, I think get the action the player takes from a set of available actions. And I think I want this actually to just be the index. So the action the player takes, the index of the action player takes in the list of valid actions. So there we go. Okay. So that's going to require a lot of changes. Let's go back to random Randy. This will make his implementation easier, actually. So let's go ahead and make it so that he implements this. So I list of player action actions, or valid actions, sorry. Valid actions. And let's go ahead and get rid of all of that. Boom. Easy. All right, so this should return an int, though. So actually, not even this. It should just be this. All right. There we go. All right, now I need to change my game logic quite a bit here. What I need to do... Actually, yeah, that's all good. All right, so what I need to do here is get action info. So at this point, I need to generate the list of valid actions here. So let's see here. So you can calculate your based on the count, blah, blah. Okay, you guys are talking about card counts, etc. Okay, so we need to generate the list of valid actions. Okay. So... Okay, var valid actions equals player action dot stand player action dot hit. I guess that doesn't work. Okay, because oh yeah, that makes sense. All right, so new list player action, and let's go ahead and pre-populate it like this. There we go. Okay. Boom, generics. We love it. All right, so we've got our valid actions here. Now, what I need to do is, let's just go ahead and do this so it stops complaining. Valid actions. And we're going to do valid actions of the index returned by that method there. All right, so just stop complaining now. But now I need to be able to determine what the player can do at this point in time. So, what I need to do is so they can double down if it's the... Okay, I'm just going to start off where, like, if their hand size is 2. So, if hand state dot hand dot count equals 2, then valid actions dot add player action dot double down. So I'll go ahead and, eventually I'm going to change that so that we'll check for double down after split. We're keeping it basic for now. And then if hand state dot hand dot can split, valid actions dot add player action dot split. There we go. All right. Now finally, surrender we can only do on our initial hand for now, we'll say. If hand index equals 0 and hand state dot hand dot count. I shouldn't have to recompute that. Let's go up here, actually. So if our count is 2, then if hand index equals 0... but that's the thing. We cannot do it after split. So actually it should be if... this dot player, yeah, so if player ID to hand state of player dot ID dot count equals 1. There we go. So if they only have one hand, okay, there we go. Then we say valid actions dot add player action dot surrender. There we go. Okay, let me read the chat. I'm getting in the zone. Oh my, OMG, finally caught us live. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We live for a bit. I'm not going to be on here for, super long. I got to go and do some chores and stuff. I got to make sure that Gus is doing all right. He's just napping downstairs. That sort of thing. But we'll stream for a bit. DKB, what do you think about The Witness? I played a long time ago, but never finished. I know that people say it's pretentious or something like that. I played The Witness a little. I didn't finish it either, actually, but I played it back in college for a bit, and I honestly didn't really care if it was pretentious. I thought the puzzles were good, and I thought the way that the game was laid out was interesting, where it kind of teaches you how the puzzles work through puzzles. So I thought that was dope. I don't remember. There was a bunch of, fucking philosophy tapes and shit that you would find. I didn't. I was more in it for the puzzles. So I liked the game. I thought it was a good game. And I want to go back and finish it at some point. I just haven't gotten around to it. Give Gus ear scratchies for me, please. Will do. Will do. He will get plenty of ear scratchies. All right, here we go. Absolute cinema game, 100% it. Yeah, at some point I'd like to. I'd have to restart it probably because I don't remember all the puzzles and shit like that. All right, here we go. So I think that's all good. We get our list of valid actions that we can take. Excuse me. And let me see here. Max number of splits is also part of the game rules, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's add that in. Public int max num splits get set. Let's do that. IMO Witness ending is annoying and pretentious, but the puzzles were wonderful. I haven't seen the ending, so I don't know if the ending is pretentious or not, but yeah, I can tell you that the puzzles were pretty great from what I saw, and the way that it's like laid out. I really like games that have knowledge gates. Like Outer Wilds is still my one of my favorite games. That's incredible, and it was kind of the same sort of thing with The Witness. Not laid out as masterfully as I think they did in Outer Wilds, but like still very cool. Play the parody of The Witness. Is that one? It was called The Looker, right? The Looker. That game looked pretty funny. Never played it though. All right, here we go. Where was I at? Baba Is You might be more for you. I love Baba Is You. Baba Is You is amazing. I haven't like 100%ed it, but I got pretty far in Baba Is You. At some point, I'd like to go back and finish it. I'm a notorious non-game finisher. I'm sorry, but I do want to go back and finish it at some point because it's one of the best puzzle games out there. 100%. All right. What was I doing here? Been a while since I C-sharped. Do the get set create the private variable. So yeah, it's basically shorthand for like, storing the private variable and then having the getter and setter methods for it. It's just shorthand for that. Witness stream, then looker stream would be fun. That would be kind of fun, yep. If max split is infinite, what do? Well, I mean, there is a limit. It will be based on the number of decks. That is the theoretical limit. So, there you go. Because you'd have to get double aces and then double aces in your new hands and then double aces in the new hand and yada, yada, yada. So, you could theoretically get the entire deck. But there you go. Or, I mean, all of the aces in the shoe or something. But, here we go. Game. Oh, yeah. Max splits. So, I wanted to do that. So, can split, and it's going to be, what was it? Let me just store this, actually. Or hand states. Oh, we already were storing it. So I can actually just go ahead and hand states. States.count equals that. Why is this, use the count property instead of count. Okay, yeah. So, can do that. Boom. Okay. And hand states dot count is less than this dot rules that max num splits. There we go. All right. So we got that shit taken care of. You know, let me just well, let me think here. So, wait. Okay, if you split into aces, then you can't do anything else? Is that right? I don't know. I'll handle it later. Mickey won $500,000 hand exactly this way. Split, and dealer busted. Holy shit, dude. That's crazy. The thing I most remember about the guy that made The Witness is that the video when he cries because somebody doesn't get his game. That's so fun. Okay, that guy, yeah. I remember, okay, I think that guy is pretty pretentious from what I remember. Like, was it him who was talking about how game developers should write their own engine for every game? Or some shit like that? I don't know. I remember seeing on Twitter that there was some indie game dev that was like, you should always make your own engine. Or was that Notch who said that? I can't remember. It's been too long. All right, anyway, let's keep going here. So I think it's okay. I think offline. So I want to make sure that all the implementation and shit I do on videos and stream and stuff like that. I think offline I'm going to write unit tests because I think this code is getting unwieldy enough that I want to start writing unit tests, but I don't want to bore you guys with me writing a bunch of unit tests. So that'll be an offline thing that I'll do later. Okay. Because there's a lot of cases here, and I do want to be divvying this up. I like to make my coding take 500% longer. Exactly. Don't use libraries either. Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, just do... If there are solutions that have already been implemented, what's the point of, like, reinventing the wheel every time? You know what I mean? But assembly, so it works everywhere. Like, I get the idea. Is that kind of what he was saying? Is that like you write your own engine so that the game is optimized for whatever game you're going to be creating. But it's like, dude, that is so like short-sighted. You know what I mean? It's like you got to take you got to be able to reuse code. Yeah, it's like, yeah, just make your own dedicated computer. You know, and shit like that. Damn, I wanted to see tests in C#. Well, I mean, okay, maybe I could try to do it later. I don't want to write them for now anyway, but maybe next stream I'll do some unit testing. I'll get the framework set up and shit like that offline, and then maybe I'll keep writing unit tests as I'm implementing. But in any case, all right, DKB, the witness dev is named Jonathan Blow. You may now laugh. Jonathan Blow. Love it. I don't know, but in Wikipedia it says that all his games are with custom game engine. Okay. So, I mean, respect to that, you know, that he makes his own game engine. That's cool. But, like, not everybody needs to write their own fucking game engine. Hey, I've been learning programming for about 2 months. Pretty sure I could start making something from scratch, but I feel I'm not ready yet. Any tips for starting out? Yeah, I mean, like, okay, I'll tell you, just set your expectations correctly is a big one. Like, when I started out, I had no idea how to do, like, anything. Like, so just to give you an idea, okay? When I first started out, I wanted to write, actually, like, right when I was first learning to code, I wanted to write code that would let me test out card counting strategies and shit like that. But I couldn't figure it out, all right? So, like, I think what you should be focusing on is, like, writing really small programs, you know? Shit where it's like, you know, like a temperature calculator or, you know, like a little tool to help you keep track of something in a game. And then you'll kind of pick up over time, like, design principles and things like that. And then you'll be able to, like, get started with a bigger project. You know, it's going to take a long time before you feel confident to know, like, how to structure things and what to do and stuff like that with a new project. But on top of that, when you start getting more and more experienced, you can go to like GitHub or whatever, and you can actually look through people's repos and see how they structured their projects and shit like that. I don't know. It's kind of there's a progression to it. I mean, I went to college for it. I don't know if you're just teaching yourself how to code. It's a little bit different, you know. But if you're taking classes for it, you should start to learn how to do all that kind of stuff in classes, and yeah, it'll all be good. Anyway, just get going. Think of a tool that would help you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, even like I would tell people when they're just starting out too, like you should consider like spreadsheets and shit as coding too. I mean, it's basically coding. It's like a higher abstraction level of coding, right? And so if you're writing spreadsheets where you have all these different, you know, data feeds feeding into each other and stuff like that, that has a lot of design principles and coding principles, just like any other coding language. You know what I mean? Anyway, he also made Braid. I heard about Braid. I heard that game was good. It's like the time reversal thing, right? Um, anyway, sorry, I went on a rant. Let me get back to coding. Probably got like, how long have I been? Oh god, it's already been 2 hours, dude. Jesus Christ. When I get in the code zone, it just time flies, man. Okay, let me go for maybe at least a half hour longer, and then I'll probably call it a day and get back into it. But there we go. We've got our basic game logic done at this point, so we should be able to play multiple rounds. Let's see. Cut card location is this.shoe.num cards divided by 4. Okay. Good stuff. Thanks, man. Very helpful advice. Glad I popped into your stream. Get them casinos. Hell yeah, brother. And yeah, good luck coding. And also, just one tip too is don't let anybody gatekeep you. Right? So I've been seeing some shit. Okay, so I've talked about Pirate Software and clowning on Pirate Software. I think it's like a different scenario with that guy because he kind of like portrays himself as being a very knowledgeable person. But like, at the same time, I don't know. I think that like going into somebody's project and nitpicking every fucking little thing that they did inoptimally, you know, is a little bit cruel and gatekeepy, you know. Once again, he was kind of like portraying himself as being an expert, and his code was not ideal, you know? There's that shit. But I'm just saying, like, don't let people discourage you. There's so many people that are in this field that try to make it seem like it's this, like, esoteric, really difficult skill that only a select few can learn. Absolutely not. Anybody can learn this. You just have to spend enough time with it, you know? I don't know. That'd be my advice to you. Don't let people talk you out of doing it if you want to do it. People who know a lot don't say they know a lot. They just say knowledge. Yeah. He called himself the Bob Ross of coding. All right. Okay. I'm being a little too charitable. Fuck that guy. but at the same time, I'm just saying, like, if you get discouraged by people calling out other people with their coding, don't let that discourage you. You're going to write shit code at the beginning. You're going to keep doing it. You're going to get better over time. That's just how it works. But anyway, let's keep going. The Bob Ross of coding. My God. All right, here we go. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Okay, so we got the basic logic here. The question is, what path do I want to start going down? Do I want to start writing the rules variants, or do I want to start writing player, like, basic strategy logic? I think I want to start writing some basic strategy shit. Oh, I don't know, though, because that depends on the rules. Okay, let's do the rules variants to start off with. I'm going to go to my goat, the Wizard of Odds. All right, Wizard of Odds, Blackjack, House, Edge, Calculator. All right, this is where... Let me just tell you, I love the Wizard of Odds. Let's take a look at this. I'll just show you guys what I'm talking about here, okay? Wizards of Odds is a great site. I mean, I don't like... He kind of promotes casinos and shit, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I mean, it's a gambling website. It's fine. That's how they make their money. But they have a bunch of, like, legitimately good information about gambling that's available to everybody. All right, here we go. So these are the rule variants that I'm going to start off implementing. So number of decks, hits or stands on soft 17, double after a split, allowed. Player can double on any first two cards, 9 to 11 only. 9, 11, or 10 to 11 only. Players can resplit to 4 hands. They can resplit aces, no. Hit split aces, no. Only loses original bet against dealer blackjack. See, this is the one. Okay, this is one that I'm not a little sure. I'm not super sure about. Okay, this is what I'm saying. So if the dealer checks for blackjack, I'll have to look into this one later. I'll implement this one offline. All right. Surrender rule, none, late. Yep. And then blackjack pays 3 to 2, 6 to 5. Optimal results, basic strategy with cut card, continuous shuffler. Okay. So let me start implementing these rules one by one. Okay. Let's do. So we got number decks. We got natural blackjack pays out 3 to 2. We got max number of splits. Also, I want to make a factory object to construct the game rules, I believe. So I kind of want like a default set of rules, and then I can set the specifics later. But let's just start off by doing this. So public bool dealer stands on soft 17. Get set. All right, so let's go ahead and update that in our game logic here. Okay, so let's go down to play dealer hand. All right, so if hand is less than 17 or hand score equals 17 and... Oh, wait. This is where it gets a little interesting, actually. So score hand. I remember this. Yeah, okay. Wait, I want to do this. All right, let's go to implementation here. I want to go like this. Public static int. You'll see what I'm doing in a sec. Score hand. Hand out bool soft. So I want to have an output variable that's soft here. Output parameter must be assigned before it, and then not all code paths return a value. Okay, there we go. All right, so what I want to do is this. Let's go up here. Let's copy and paste this in. What I want to do here is have this one call into our other score hand method. So return score hand with hand and then out bool soft that we're not going to be using, right? This says unnecessary, blah, blah, blah. Use discard. There we go. Out that. All right, so the reason I want to do this is because I don't want to have to, like, go through the hand again and figure out if it's a soft total. You know, I can do that while I'm scoring, and I can just do it right here. So var soft equals... Or sorry, yeah, let me just do it like this. Soft equals this, and then let's do this. So if soft... score minus equals 10, return score. So now what I can do is I have this output variable, and everything else it's just calling score hand like normal. It still works properly. But now I can call it and get an output variable as well, which is going to be the soft boolean, which we need right now in the hand scoring here. So I'm going to go var soft equals false. Oops. Like that. And then we're going to do out soft and out soft. And now what I want to do is or hand score equals 17 and and soft. There we go. All right. Oops, I minimized the chat, by the way. Okay, here we go. He would be the Bob Ross of coding if Bob Ross never actually painted on his TV show. A card counting bot was actually my application test for my current job. Hell yeah, dude. You'll be an expert. You'll be able to help me when I inevitably fuck something up, which will definitely happen. Only ever played Minecraft and drew squares explaining random stuff. Okay. And then my first... Is that pirate software? I don't know. My first code was finding solutions to the 8-queen problem because I couldn't find it myself. RL. That's 8-queen is recursive backtracking, right? So you're basically how you position... I can't remember. I remember I had to do something like that too. And you use recursive backtracking to figure out where you can place the queens where they don't kill each other, right? They're not in kill range of each other. Yeah, I think I had to do that at some point too. Yeah. Here we go. Play, dealer, hand. Bob Ross was a talented painter, but his personality, he took everything from the man who taught him and repackaged it as his brand. Interesting. I didn't know that. The only thing I knew about Bob Ross is that he used to be a drill sergeant, right? And then he didn't want to yell at people anymore, so he started painting happy little trees and shit. That's all I know about Bob Ross. All right, here we go. So, sorry, I got to do this too. And this dot rules dot dealer stands on soft 17, not that. There we go. So, yep, there we go. All right, so we've got that rule implemented. Player can double after a split. All right, so let's do that one next. All right, so public bool dealer. Player. Or I don't need to specify player because the player is the only one that could split. So I'm gonna say can double after split. Get set. All right, so let's go back to the game. Here, what I want to do is I want to go back to our valid actions setup here, right? So if hand state.hand.count equals 2. Okay, how do I want to structure this is what I'm wondering. Also, every time I do that, it keeps minimizing the fucking chat. Okay. That's what I heard about Bob Ross too. I'll go ahead and link you a video about that in the server if you're curious, DKB. All right, I'll take a look at that. I honestly didn't really watch Bob Ross or whatever growing up. I just know he had that funky hair and he was chill as hell. Bob Ross, didn't invent wet on wet oil is the main thing to point out. Yeah, see, I don't know my Bob Ross lore, and I don't know anything about painting. It'd be kind of cool to get into painting if I could actually visualize anything in my head. But I've been feeling more creative recently, so I kind of want to give some art forms a chance, even though I'm going to suck shit at them. But here we go. All right, so how do I want to structure this? So if hand state.hand.count equals 2. So if we can double down after splitting, we can always double down. So let's go ahead and do this. So if this dot rules dot can double after split, or this dot so if we can double after split, we can always double down. Or if our hand count is 1. Hand states that count equals 1. Then we can double down. So either of those scenarios. If we can always do it, we can always double down if our hand count is 2. Otherwise, if our hand count equals 1... Okay, anyway. Then we can surrender, right? But I'm pretty sure you can't surrender after splitting ever. I don't know if there's any casinos that allow you to do that. Somebody was saying earlier that you usually can, but I'm seeing that you usually can't, but I don't know. I'll revisit that later. Okay, so we got double down after split. That's all taken care of here. Player can double on any first 2 cards, 9 to 11 only, 10 to 11 only. All right. So now let me go ahead and do this, by the way. Let's do enum here, and let's do double down rule. Double down rule. That's what I'm going to put here. Shut the fuck up. All right, here we go. Boom. Public enum is what we want. Public enum. And let's do this. All right, so I'm looking at this. We want to do any. I'm going to do 9 or 9 to 11 only. And we want to do 10 to 11 only. There we go. Okay. I'm just making this in enum so it's a little more clear in the fucking rules and shit. Alright. There we go. Alright, so let me see. Represents a rule for when you're allowed to, or for, represents rules for which 2 starting cards you can double down on, or some shit. I don't fucking know. I look away and hear a hush. Shut the fuck up immediately for again laughter. You know, when I code, I'm a bit of an angry man sometimes. I'm sorry. Actually, one of my favorite types of music to listen to when I'm coding is just like power violence. So like nails and shit. I don't know why. It just fits my my vibe. I would be playing that right now if it wasn't copyrighted music. Instead, we were doing the neon white OST, which is you know, just as good in certain ways. All right, here we go. Here we go. Double down rule. All right, so we got the double down rule here. Let's go here. So public double down rule. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to call it that, too. Fuck it. Get set. And here, let's... Okay, so... Now I got to expand this case out, right? So, if we can double down after split, or hand.count equals 1, then we know that this is a valid time that we could potentially double down, but... it can vary depending on what the rules are there. Okay, so I'm going to say var score equals scoring utils dot score hand. Oops, sorry, score hand, and it's going to be hand state dot hand here. All right, there we go. LOL, had a time where I listened to Dillinger's Escape Plan. I love Dillinger's Escape Plan, dude. I'm trying to remember which some of my favorite songs are. I like Liminal Death was a great song. I like When I Lost My Bet, of course. That's a great one. Let me just bring up my library here. Fuck it. Let me bring it up on the other screen to make sure there's no... there's no PII on here, on my Spotify here. Looks good. Looks good. And it says I'm not going to be doxing myself by showing you my fucking Spotify here. I don't think so. I'm paranoid about doing that, by the way. So let me just make sure we're good. All right, I think we're good. Okay, I'm showing my my Spotify library here. Let's see which Dillinger songs I got. It's been a while. All right, Dillinger Escape Plan. All right, yeah, Limerent Death. I love this song. I got a lot of Dillinger Escape Plan actually. Milk Lizard, baby. This album, One of Us is the Killer, is a banger album. I like Ironworks as well. Yeah, good shit. Good shit. So there we go. I wish I could play my Spotify, you know, but copyright, obviously, so can't really do that. But I would love to be able to do that while I'm coding. Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? We got to score the hand here. Score. So we score here, and then what we want to do is if so if this dot rules, okay, let me just get this. Okay, so var double down rule equals this dot rules dot double down rule, so that I'm gonna call this DD rule, designated driver rule, right there, you know. Or if you're in the Midwest, Dunkin' Donut rule, because you never have a DD if you're in the Midwest, man. You're just drunk driving all day. You fucking rapscallions. Slap on the wrist states. Fuck them, dude. All right, anyway, DD rule here. So what do I want to do here? So we get the double down rule. So if DD rule equals double down rule that any, or score is... Okay, wait. Let's do this. Okay, wait. 10 or 11. So, or score equals 10, or score equals 11, or... There's got to be a better way to fucking do this shit, but let me do this. Actually, let me do this. Okay, here we go. Var can DD equals DD rule that equals double down rule dot any. This is like a little bit less efficient, but it's a little less annoying to look at. I'm going to say can DD or equals score equals 10. Can DD or equals score equals 11. And then can DD or equals score equals 9. And DD rule equals double down rule dot 9 to 11 only. There we go. All right, that should be good. And then I'm going to say if can DD do all that shit. Once again, it's a little bit less efficient because we could technically short circuit this at any point, but I'm just going to do this because it's quick enough and we can put it on separate lines like this and whatever. I don't care. All right, there we go. So we add the double down as a valid action, so that should be good. Let's go to our next rule that we need to implement. Can resplit to 4 hands. We already got the number of hands. Player can resplit aces. There we go. That's the next one I want to do. Okay, so public bool can resplit aces. Get set. Okay, let's go back to the game here. Once again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to break up this giant play round method into something a lot. You know what? Let me just do that now. I keep saying I'm going to do it. I'm already getting tech debt on my own project. So let's go ahead and nip that in the bud here. So how can I divvy this up? I can definitely divvy out the scoring hands functionality. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and do private void pay out. So pay hands is what I'm going to say. Pay hands. Okay. Let me go ahead and do this. Okay, we're good. I was just making sure that was still the neon white OST. Okay, so let's go and just put that down here. Excuse me. Pay hands. We need the dealer hand. We need a bunch of different dictionaries. All right, that's fine. Let's just pass this in. All right, so we're going to do hand, dealer hand. We're going to do dictionary of int to bool, player ID to natural BJ. There we go. Let me go ahead and put these on separate lines, by the way. And then we need our insurance bets, player ID to bet. Maybe I should make this into a state object, but let's just start off with this, and if it gets too unwieldy, I'll do that. All right, so player ID to bet. Do I really need that? I mean, I was talking about how I could do that earlier, but now that we're moving this into its own method, I think what I'm going to do is do Yeah, no, I don't need to do that. All right. Let's go ahead and do insurance bets next. So iDictionary int to int insurance bets. Good stuff here. And then player ID to hand state. Yeah, okay. So iDictionary int, was it iList of hand state? Or player hand state? Player ID to hand state. Is that what it was? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Now, player ID to bet. What I can do here is I can do player ID to hand state of player dot. Actually, like this. Player dot ID of 0 dot bet amount. All right. There we go. All right, so we got our payouts there because that's the initial hand, basically. It's the same thing as that initial bet amount. That's guaranteed to be true if we have a natural blackjack there. Okay, so let me go up here and put this out. So this dot payout, pay hands, and we have to pass in all that shit that I just went over. Dealer hand, player ID to natural blackjack, insurance bets, and player ID to hand state. There we go. Actually, I want to rename this, by the way. I want this to be right here. Where we go? Pay bets. Pay bets. There we go. All right. So we moved that out here. Let's see if I can break up this further here. Refactor a bit. Okay, so we got play around here. We have the cut card location here. We reshuffle, blah, blah, blah. We could definitely move this into its own thing. And then, I mean, I probably even want to... I think I want to break this up, too, actually. Because this is pretty big and unwieldy. So I could break this down into separate little components, so it's... But I'll do that later. You know, let's get our big wins here first by breaking up this player action logic a little bit, right? It's a little bit difficult to do. How do I want to refactor this? So we go through all the players. Got player ID to natural blackjack. We do while this. I'm wondering if I could break this out. So I could take one specific action, I think, is what I want to do here. Let me do this, actually. Yeah, let me move this into one. So I'm going to say take action and then pass that in as a parameter. And then that method will do this switch down here. So let me go ahead and put that into its own thing. So private void take action. Okay. This is going to need to be passed in a fuckload of shit. I can just tell. So so player action. And we got hand complete. Oh yeah, that's a... So that's going to be a bool, actually. So let's go ahead and do var hand complete equals false. And then I'm going to return that at the end. Return hand complete. Hand state, losing hand, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's not too bad. There's not too much shit to pass here. So we take the action here. And then we need the hand state. Hand state. There we go. All right, let's move that to its own line here. Okay. And player ID to hand state, player that ID here. That's fine because we're adding the new one. So let's go ahead and add that in. iDictionary int I list of hand state player ID to hand state. There we go. Player hand state. I always fuck that up. Player hand state and then player.id. Yeah, we need the player object as well. Yep. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this. iPlayer. God fucking damn, I can't type. iPlayer player. Alright, there we go. Okay, so we got all that shit done. So let's go ahead and put this up here. this dot take action with player action hand state player ID to hand state. There we go. Okay. A little cleaner now. So we got this. And let's start. We should probably start commenting these methods too. Well, I'll let things settle a little bit more. All right. So that's cleaned things up a bit. I think what I want to do is I want to move the valid actions, getting the valid actions into its own method here too. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so let me copy and paste that. And I don't think I'm going to put the loop into its own thing. That should be legible enough. So let's do this. So valid actions. And we're going to move this into its own get private or get player actions thing. So private I list of player actions. Hand complete returns and is not set. It's set right there. Hand complete and then it gets set in the right here, right? Should be good. I list player action get valid player actions. All right. All right, there we go. Get valid player actions. We got hand state and just hand states. Hand state and hand states. Yeah. All right. So hand state, player hand state. When calling the method. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yep. Got you. Makes sense. So I need to do it. Hand complete. This dot take action. You are correct. Hand complete equals that. Good call. Good catch. Good catch. All right. This is what I pay you the big bucks for. All right. Let's see here. I mean, technically, I could just pass in. Well, no, then I need to pass in the. Let's just pass in the hand state reference. That should be fine. I list player hand state. I always type hand state. Player hand state. Hand states. You know, actually, it just needs the count, right? Yeah. Actually, that's much better. All right, let's do it like this. Int hand counts. Hand count. Hand counts? No, hand count. Okay, there we go. Hands count? I don't know. Let's just do it like this. All right, hand count equals 1. Hand count equals. No, it should just be hand count. I'm being stupid. All right, hand count less than that. All right, there we go. And then I got to return valid actions. So return valid actions. Boom. Okay, there we go. Now I'll go back up here. Pay bets, blah, 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 blah. And, oh, there we go. Okay, so all this shit. Up to this. So var valid actions equals this dot get valid player actions, passing in hand state, and then hand states dot count. There we go. All right, cool. So that's been cleaned up quite a bit. This is a lot more readable now. We get the initial bets. We reshuffle the shoe if we need to. We deal out the dealer hand. We deal out the player hands. I mean, I could refactor that and move that into its own method at some point. I think it's okay, though. Insurance bets. We get the insurance bets. We iterate through all the players. We basically get all of the valid actions. We get whatever action they want to take. We take the action, and then we check if the hand is complete. If it is, we move on to the next hand. We go through everything, and then we pay out the bets if we need to. So that's a lot more clean than it was. I think there's still some further, divvying up I can do at some point. I can even divvy up this shit, but it's a lot better. And I'll have to see if I can move some methods to some stateless utility functions at some point as well. And potentially be grouping these parameters into dedicated state structs. But I'll hold off on that for now until we get things a little more solidified. All right, so on to the next thing. What were we doing? We were doing can resplit aces. Okay. Is there a GitHub yet? No, I was going to set that up. I said I was going to do that last time. I have not actually set up the repo, but I'll probably do that. So what I'm going to do offline is set up the unit test project, and then I'll upload it to GitHub, and then yada yada yada. I keep forgetting to do it, and the reason I'm not doing it on stream is because I don't want to have like my credentials up and shit. So I'll get that set up though at some point. The divvy, how much more you think you'll do, DKB? Holy shit, dude, the time is flying. I said I was going to do 30 more minutes. It has been 30 more minutes. I'm kind of in the zone though, man. I'm kind of having a good time with this. You are a true dev indeed. Yeah, you know, not starting out with our repo setup is the true dev way for sure. But I do want to get the GitHub up and running soon. Okay. I'll probably do like a half hour more. I said that last time, but I'm having fun with this, so I'm gonna keep going. All right, here we go. Here we go. Get player insurance bets, reshuffle the shoe, pay bets, yada yada yada. This pay bets can definitely be divvied up a little bit more, but let's continue on. We're doing can resplit aces next, so that's going to be in the get valid actions, get valid player actions thing here. So we have our split logic here. Hand count is less than max num splits. So if we can split and the hand.count is less than this.rules.max num splits. And the other thing I want to check is just remember to code a bottle of water while you work. Don't worry, I'm drawing while you stream, so you're not wasting my time. Hell yeah, hell yeah. You know, multitasking, it's good shit. The main thing is that I'm figuring out if I have enough time for this right now because there was some other stuff I wanted to get done today. Honestly, I should probably go do that shit. And I need to, like, yeah, make sure Gus is all good. So maybe I will end it here. Let me finish the resplitting aces logic, and then we'll probably call it a day. But this is fun. I like doing this coding on stream. It's a good time. And you guys are helping me because you get to catch some of the stupid mistakes I make in real time because I make a lot of them. All right, so let's do this. So handstate.hand.can split, and the hand count is less than max num splits. And then let's do this. So we'll have that, and then I want to do and this dot. Well, actually, let me see here. How do I want to do this? Can split, less than max splits, and what is it? I'm going to write the negative case, and then we can do our logical shit here. And not this dot rules dot can resplit aces and so I'm going to fix this later. I'm just getting ridden out in the negative case here. So not this can split aces, and then what the fuck is it? Hand state dot hand of 0 dot rank equals rank dot ace, right? So that's the case that I want to be handling here. Let's clean it up so that it's not so many stupid things going on. Shut the fuck up. Windows, I don't care. All right. We can make this a negative case by doing what is it? Remove that and or not that. There we go. All right, that should be, oops, does not equal that. All right, that's the negative case. We've reversed the logic there. Let me just make sure. Yep, so if we can resplit aces or hand state that hand of 0 dot rank does not equal ace. There we go. All right, that's the, I remember my logic rules from college. Of course I do. Of course I do. I don't need to second guess myself at all. What am I talking about? All right, so we got resplit aces logic done there. God, I want to keep going, but I got responsibilities. You know, responsibility's cool, but there's more things in life, like coding card counting bots all fucking night. But there we go. I think this is a cutoff point for today. This was fun. Hope you guys had a good time hanging out. And I will definitely be doing this again soon. I may move this over to the main channel at some point as well. But for now, I'm having a good time having a smaller audience on the secondary channel. That's been good. But anyway, hope you all take it easy. I'm going to sign off for the night. So, bye-bye, everybody. I will talk to you later. Peace. See you guys later. All right. How do I stop streaming? I'm a professional streamer, obviously.